soul, 'cause you're teaching me how to slow down. Surrender it all, let you take control.
One day, I was sitting in a meeting as a national leader in Campus Crusade for Christ, and all of a sudden my heart started palpitating, my breathing became labored, and a sense of panic came over me. And I thought, I'm having a heart attack. And after visiting the emergency room and seeing 3 more doctors, I was informed by all 3 that I was not having a heart attack, I was having panic attacks. They all proceeded to tell me my heart was just fine, and that I was struggling with an anxiety disorder. I remember thinking, I can't possibly be experiencing panic attacks. I can't have anxiety disorder. I'm a church leader who knows his Bible. Christian leaders don't struggle with anxiety. It doesn't make any sense. Well, obviously, I was in total denial of what was going on inside of me. Now, looking back at my life and my life circumstances, I can now understand why I was struggling with anxiety and having panic attacks. But like most, I couldn't see the connection between my circumstances and what I was feeling. I really didn't want to acknowledge what was going on inside of me. I did not connect my thoughts and my feelings. As a Christian leader, I was trained to ignore my feelings and just trust God. I wish I'd had someone process that with me, to talk with me and walk me through what I was experiencing. It's our hope to do just that with you.
Unfortunately, anxiety is extremely common among Christians. In spite of knowing that we're not supposed to feel it, many of us do. We need to know that we're not alone when we feel it. We may describe it as worry, stress, or being uptight. We may not even realize that what we are feeling is anxiety. So let's start with the basics of anxiety. The dictionary defines anxiety as, quote, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. We often use other words for anxiety like nervousness, worried, tense, high-strung, wound tight, fearful, stressed, uneasy, feeling of angst, agitated, or concerned. When we talk about anxiety, we've got to talk about fear, because all anxiety is rooted in fear. God has given us the gift of being able to be afraid of things. Fear is a core emotion that often protects us and our families from harm in the unknown. The psychologist Rollo May states, quote, if you're walking across a highway and you see a car speeding toward you, your heart beats faster, you focus your eyes on the distance between the car and you, and how far you have to go to get to the safe side of the road, and then you hurry across. You felt fear, and it energized you to run to safety. When the car is passed, the fear goes away. Anxiety, on the other hand, is when you have all these same feelings, but there's no car. In other words, anxiety is a fear response in the absence of an actual threat or stimulus. Fear sees, hears, or smells a threat. Anxiety simply imagines those threats.
Pastor Timothy Keller uses this helpful comparison of fear and anxiety, and I quote, fear is a good thing. It's like a thunderstorm that comes through, and there's all this thunder and all this lightning, and then it passes. The sun comes out, and everything is greener. But anxiety is like a cold drizzle, 34 degrees and raining all the time. Eventually, your soul begins to mildew. Unquote. Anxiety does something to us and our hearts that is destructive over time. It's like an acid to the soul, slowly eating away our inner sense of peace and joy and security. We begin to feel disconnected and vulnerable. To manage our anxiety, we start turning to things like food and sex and pornography, alcohol, religious activities, drugs, work, exercise, or anything else that we think might make us feel better.
Long-term anxiety affects us in a variety of ways. Our body begins to react. We may experience things like stomach aches, sleeplessness, muscle tension, or a variety of other things. On a severe level, it may even lead to panic attacks where our bodies literally think we are dying. Our anxiety often leads us to a variety of coping mechanisms that have long-term negative effects on our body. Our emotional health suffers. We have obsessive thoughts. Our mind wanders. We run countless scenarios and outcomes through our mind. We spend our energy wondering, what if? Our close relationships start to suffer as well. Anxiety creates emotional distance. It isolates us from God and others. It keeps us from true connection. We become trapped in our mind, making it difficult to be fully present and to have empathy with others. We develop masks to hide what we really think and feel. We pretend things are fine when they're not. We smile and tell people what we think they want to hear. We may even use a mask of platitudes like, "God's good. He's been so faithful," or "I've got this." Both are used to distract from what we really feel and the reality of who we really are. As an important side note, we want to state something very strongly. There are varying degrees of anxiety. Some of us will need help from a trained professional. We may even need medication to help balance our body chemistry. Just as Christians who suffer from diabetes need to take insulin, some of us need to use medication to function effectively. We are not using what the Bible says to discount the value of other forms of treatment, but we genuinely believe that no matter what level of anxiety you may be experiencing, the tools and information we provide in these videos will help you manage your anxiety. That's why we developed them.
To be clear, the ability to feel fear is a good thing. Fear can serve us well at times, but God doesn't want us to live in fear, to make anxiety our home. Anxiety has many long-term effects. Remember, we said you and I were made for connection. Anything that threatens your ability to connect threatens you on a fundamental level. Anxiety is often a barrier to connection with others. It can isolate us from the heart and the comfort of God. So we go looking for answers to our pain and anxiety outside of Him. Again, we encourage you to send this video series to a family member or a trusted friend. And then after each video, discuss the questions found in the workbook. This video series will be of much more help to you if you slow down and process those questions and talk about them with others. Here are 2 of the questions for this lesson found in the workbook that we'd like you to think about before the next video. First, how is anxiety affecting your relationships? Secondly, when you're anxious or in emotional pain, which coping mechanism do you have a tendency to turn to? In the next video, we'll explore the general topic of our emotions and how to understand them. Until then.